All right, welcome back to our deep dive into personal finance. Last time, we talked budgeting, saving, even touched on investing a bit.
It's a lot to cover, but we're breaking it down step by step.
Exactly. So where do we go from here? What's next on our financial to-do list?
Well, we got to talk about something that might not be the most fun, but it's important: managing debt.
Yeah, debt can be a bit of a scary topic for a lot of people.
It's something most of us deal with at some point, but it doesn't have to be this big, overwhelming thing.
Right. So where do we even begin? How do we start tackling it?
First things first, you got to understand the different types of debt you might have.
Different types.
Yeah, like there's good debt, like a mortgage that helps you build equity in a home. And then there's, bad debt, that high interest credit card debt.
Ah, okay. So the goal is to minimize that bad debt. Right?
Exactly. High interest debt can get out of control fast. It just eats away at your money. So you want to prioritize paying that down as quickly as possible.
Any tips for tackling those credit card balances? They can be tough.
There are a couple of strategies people use. One's called the avalanche method. You focus on paying down the debt with the highest interest rate first.
So even if I have a smaller loan with a lower rate, I should prioritize the credit card debt because it's costing me more in interest.
Yep, that's the idea. It saves you the most money over time. But, some people find the snowball method more motivating.
Snowball method? What's that?
You pay off the smallest debts first, regardless of the interest rate.
So it's more about getting those quick wins and feeling like you're making progress.
Right. It can give you a psychological boost to keep you going.
Both methods sound good. Is there one that's generally better?
Honestly, it depends on your personality and your financial situation. Avalanche method's great if you're analytical and want to save the most money, but if you need that extra push, the snowball method might be better.
So it's all about finding what works best for me.
Exactly. Now, while we're on the topic of credit, let's talk about your credit score.
Oh yeah, the credit score. I know it's important, but I'm not always sure what it is or how it works.
Think of it like your financial GPA, It's a 3-digit number that basically tells lenders how risky it is to lend you money.
So the higher the score, the better.
Pretty much. A good credit score means you're more likely to get approved for loans and get better interest rates.
Okay, makes sense. So how do I actually improve my credit score?
The biggest thing is paying your bills on time, every single time.
All right, no more late payments. What else can I do?
Keep your credit utilization low. That means using a smaller percentage of your available credit.
So if I have a credit card with a $10,000 limit, I shouldn't be maxing it out every month.
Exactly. Try to keep your balance below 30% of your limit. So in that case, under $3,000.
Got it. Any other credit score tips?
Don't apply for too much new credit all at once. Every time you apply, it can actually ding your score a little.
So space out those credit card applications.
Yeah. Building good credit takes time, but it's worth it. It can save you a ton of money on interest charges over time.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've covered budgeting, saving, a little bit of investing, and now debt and credit scores. Anything else we should be thinking about?
Let's talk about our lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
How our everyday decisions affect our finances.
Because it's not just about earning more money, right?
Right. It's also about spending wisely.
I've definitely been guilty of spending more whenever I get a raise.
That's called lifestyle inflation. It's really common. You get more money and suddenly you feel like you can afford a bigger apartment, a nicer car, more vacations.
But then you end up right back where you started, living paycheck to paycheck.
Yep. You got to be aware of those spending patterns and resist that urge to immediately upgrade your lifestyle.
So how do we avoid that trap?
Focus on setting financial goals and, actually sticking to them. Instead of spending that extra money, invest it for the future, pay down debt.
So future me will thank me later.
Exactly. And it's not about depriving yourself. It's about finding a balance. You can still enjoy life, but do it within your financial means.
So make conscious choices that align with my values and my goals.
Right. Be intentional with your money and make it work for you, not against you.
This has been so helpful. I feel like I'm getting a much better grasp on managing my money.
We've covered a lot in this part, from tackling debt to understanding those spending habits.
I'm excited to see what's in store for our final part. All right, welcome back for the final part of our personal finance deep dive. We've already talked about budgeting, saving, investing, managing debt, even those tricky spending habits.
It's been a jam-packed journey, but we're not done yet.
I know. There's still so much to learn. What are we tackling today? What's on the agenda?
Let's shift gears a bit and talk about, long-term financial planning.
Oh, okay, getting strategic.
Exactly. Thinking big picture and setting yourself up for, a solid financial future.
Love that. Where do we start with that?
Well, let's talk about something that might seem far off, especially if you're younger. Retirement planning.
Retirement. Isn't that something I can worry about, way later?
It might seem like a lifetime away, but trust me, the sooner you start planning, the better off you'll be.
Okay, I'm all ears. Why is starting early so important?
It all boils down to something called compound growth.
Compound growth.
Yeah, basically it's earning interest on your interest. The longer your money has to grow, the more powerful that compounding becomes.
So even small contributions I make now can make a big difference later on.
Exactly. It's like, have you ever heard that saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, the second best time is today?
I love that. Okay, so how do I actually, start planning for retirement? What are the steps?
One of the best ways is through tax-advantaged accounts, like 401ks or IRAs.
Oh, yeah, those always sound so confusing. Could you break those down for me?
Of course. A 401k is usually offered through your employer, and you contribute pre-tax dollars. A lot of times, your employer will even match some of your contributions.
So it's like free money on top of what I'm already saving.
Yep, that's the idea. An IRA, which stands for Individual Retirement Account, you can open that on your own, even if you have a 401k.
Oh, okay, so I could have both.
Yep. And there are different types of IRAs too, traditional and Roth. A traditional IRA, your contributions might be tax deductible, and then you pay taxes when you withdraw the money in retirement. With a Roth IRA, you don't get the tax deduction up front, but the withdrawals in retirement are tax-free.
Okay, so there are some decisions to be made there. I need to figure out which one makes sense for me.
Exactly. And definitely don't forget about those employer matching contributions if you have a 401k. It's essentially free money, so make sure you're taking advantage of it.
Absolutely. So we've got retirement planning covered. What about other long-term financial goals? Things I should be thinking about?
It's always a good idea to think about other milestones you might have. Buying a home, maybe starting your own business, or even saving for your kids' education.
It can feel kind of overwhelming trying to, juggle all those things at once.
It definitely can, but don't get too caught up in trying to do everything at once. Start by figuring out what's most important to you. Prioritize those goals and then create a timeline for yourself.
So break down those big goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
Exactly. Instead of focusing on that huge down payment for a house, set a goal of saving a specific amount each month. Having a plan and making those consistent contributions, it all adds up over time.
Okay, that makes it feel less daunting.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk more about investing. We touched on it earlier, but I'm ready to go a little deeper now.
Awesome. Let's talk about something called asset allocation.
Asset allocation, what is that exactly?
It's basically deciding how to spread out your investments across different asset classes like stocks, bonds, and even real estate.
Okay, why is that so important? Why do we need to spread things out?
It's all about managing risk and making sure your investments are aligned with your goals and, how much risk you're comfortable with.
So someone younger who has more time to recover from potential losses might invest more heavily in stocks.
Exactly. Stocks tend to be more volatile, but they also have the potential for higher returns over the long run. Someone closer to retirement might want a more conservative approach and put more money in bonds, which are generally less risky.
So it's all about finding that balance between risk and potential reward that works for me.
You got it. And diversification is key. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket.
Makes sense. Don't want everything riding on one single investment.
Well, right. Spread out your investments across different industries, different parts of the world, and different types of assets. It helps minimize your risk.
That's a good reminder.
Yeah.
So are there any, advanced investing strategies I should know about? Things that can help me level up my investing game?
Sure. One popular strategy is called dollar cost averaging. Basically, you invest a fixed amount of money at regular intervals, no matter what the market's doing.
So instead of trying to time the market perfectly, which seems impossible, I just invest consistently.
Yep, that's the idea. It helps you average out your purchase price over time and can potentially lower your risk.
Interesting. I've also heard about something called tax loss harvesting. What's that all about?
That's a strategy where you sell investments that have lost value to offset any capital gains you might have from other investments.
So I can use those losses to, reduce my taxes.
Exactly. It's a smart way to minimize your tax bill, which can free up more money to reinvest.
Wow, this is great stuff. There's so much to learn about investing.
It's a lifelong learning process. But the most important thing is to just get started. Don't be afraid to ask questions, do your research, or even talk to a financial advisor if you need some extra guidance.
This entire deep dive has been incredibly helpful. I feel so much more equipped to manage my money, make smart decisions, and really plan for my future.
That's what we're here for. Remember, personal finance is a journey, not a destination. It's going to have its ups and downs, but with the right knowledge and a proactive approach, you can achieve those financial goals and create a secure future for yourself.
Thank you so much for guiding me through all of this. I'm feeling really empowered to take control of my finances.
And remember, stay curious, keep learning, and never stop working towards your financial well-being.
Until next time, keep diving deep into all things personal finance.